Good morning, guys. Today, Conor McGregor shares a very powerful message in setting our minds up for success, and that is the thought of be grateful. Conor McGregor tells us that in his life, he was grateful for the little things before he achieved the great things that he has today, the money, the fame of being a champion. He, first of all, remembers all the little things, and he always remains grateful. So here's a guy who's so successful. So how can we apply this today and forever? Let's look for opportunities today to be grateful. Even the tiniest, smallest things. Look around you, wherever you are right now. You have breath in you, then it's all possible. You get to choose whether you want to be grateful or whether you want to focus on the negative things. If you are grateful, there's no room for any negative thoughts. Have a great morning, everyone.
Oh, I always thought we would fail. So this is it's all upside. I thought maybe we had a 10% chance of reaching orbit starting out. So then people thought when we started SpaceX, they said, "Oh, you're going to fail." So I agree. I think we probably will fail. Yeah, but it's worth trying anyway. Yeah. Yeah.
How's that for honesty, huh?
Yeah. This said I'd lose lose all the money from PayPal. I was like, well, you're probably right. And we almost did. We had first 3 launches of Falcon 1 didn't work. Then the 4th one, we scraped together some parts, and that one worked. And if that one hadn't worked, would have been it for us. So, I don't know, I really believe in the future of space, and I think it's important that we become a spacefaring civilization and be out there among the stars. And I think that's one of the things that makes people excited about the future. And we want the things that are in science fiction novels and movies not to be science fiction forever. We want them to be real one day.
The way to push past failure is to keep making progress. Part of the reasons why you stick on failure and feeling so bad about yourself and it's never going to work out, it's because there's nothing new that you're working on that's exciting, that you're building towards, that you feel like you're making progress on. Because when you're making progress and you're moving forward, you can't feel like a failure, and you don't have time to think about the failures that you've had. People ask me all the time, hey, what do you do when one of your videos fail? Like, my videos fail all the time. My videos fail all the time. And can I learn from them? Yes. And can we look at the data and the analytics and show, hey, when this happened, your video tanked? Yes. And we do that and we learn from it. But I don't have time to sit there and look at all of just the failures and sit on it, because I've got more videos that I need to make. Another video is coming out tomorrow, and another video is coming out the next day, and another video is coming out the next day. And I don't know how many videos we put out every day across all of our channels, but it's a lot of content. And I'm so focused on the next thing that I'm less focused on the one that was. So learn from that. Awesome. Now move forward. And when you don't have anything that you're moving forward towards, that's when it starts to really hit hard. And so I think that's really important. I think we get too caught up on our first one and it being amazing and nobody liking it, and so we're gonna stop. And even for me, my first video, I forget how many months it was between my first video of all time and then my second video, but it was a while before I kept going, because the first video didn't do as well as I thought it would do. I wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be. I was way more nervous than I thought I was gonna be, and I got no comments, right? It's like my mom and my sister commented on my video, and I felt like a failure, so I stopped going. And the thing that saved me the most over however many years of making videos, a decade plus, has been you keep going, you keep making content, you keep creating, you put it in your calendar, and you keep doing something to build momentum towards a dream that you want. And so I think that's incredibly valuable. Whether you're going through a big failure or a mini failure, I think it helps. When I look at big failures in my life, right? So a video failing, that's a small failure, right? Like if this video doesn't go and blow up, it's a small failure. But big failures, the 2 biggest ones was one personal and one business. The business one is in my first company. I quit. I'm a business partner. I felt like a loser. I was not making money, right? I'm making $300 a month, having no results, no traction. I just feel like a total failure and nothing was working out. And I told my business partner that I quit. And the thing that got me through it was eventually just realizing, hey, somebody else has done this. I can model success. And I looked at Bill Gates and how he started Microsoft, and I learned from that, and I built my company. But it was the progress, the moving forward. Instead of being stuck on how everything sucks and I suck and I'm not getting results and I'm just failing, the thing that got me the energy to keep going was feeling like there's progress towards a new idea or a new strategy to help me accomplish my goals. My biggest personal failure was getting divorced over 10 years ago, and that was really rough. You know, it was it felt like a personal failure. I mean, it ended up being the best thing for both of us, but at the time it felt like a huge failure. Even just saying that I, am divorced, it just felt like a giant failure, that I suck as a human, that I couldn't make this work. And that took a while to get through. And eventually the thing that helped me was I pulled up a dating app and I saw options. I was like, oh, you know what? Okay, maybe this could work or that could work. And it's like the idea of progress towards something instead of being stuck in the past is the thing that started to get me through to build some momentum. Understand that if you're living in failure right now, it's just the past. You're living in the past. You're frustrated with what happened and what you should have done differently and could have done differently, and you wish you said this or did that or acted a certain way. You're just constantly repeating the past. Where to get out of the past, to get out of the failure, now we need to think present and future. What are we working towards? What are we building towards? What are we creating and making? And as soon as you can shift from past to present or future, that starts to allow your brain to shift into forward momentum and progress instead of living in failure. So some of the steps that you can do that I think can help. 1, put activity into your calendar. So whatever you're working towards, if it didn't work out once, awesome, put in your calendar to keep going. Today's a Tuesday as I'm filming this video. Tuesday is my video day. I'm making content on Tuesday. We're here and we're sitting in the parking lot. My wife Nina is running some errands, shipping out some Built to Serve books, I believe, right now here at the shipping center. And I'm making content because it's in my calendar. If I didn't have content day and it wasn't scheduled in, I wouldn't be making content. I'd be doing something else. Or I might be thinking about all the past failures that I had in my content. But because this is scheduled in my calendar, I'm making progress and moving forward. So whatever you want to make progress and move forward towards, have chunks of time in your calendar dedicated to doing it. 2, have something that inspires you. It could be people, it could be remembering what impact you're trying to have, your big mission or your vision that you're trying to accomplish. One of the things that really helped me early in my career is I made a PowerPoint file of all the people who came to my events, my seminars, my speaking gigs, and the message that they had for me. They wrote to me because I feel great the next day after an event, but then I would lose the vibe, I'd lose the momentum. It didn't feel like, who cares, this doesn't matter anymore. But I would watch this PowerPoint file where I put their quotes and how much of an impact I was having on them. And so it reminded me of why I do what I do and gave me more energy, momentum to keep moving forward. That becomes critical. Like, what inspires you to want to move forward? Maybe it's watching videos like this. Maybe it's looking at testimonials from the people who you've helped. Maybe it's remembering your big goal and dream of what you're trying to accomplish. But what inspires you to want to start building some momentum? And then 3, model success and find the people who are doing the thing or have done the thing that you're trying to do, and learn from them and study them. And what that does is it gives you hope and strategies. When you are studying people who've done the thing that you want to do, it gives you the hope that it's possible for you too, right? Because when you look at their story, they probably started with less than what you have right now. And in studying them, you can see, oh, if they could do it, maybe I can too. It's just that hope, because you don't see anybody in your family or friend circle doing what you want to do. And so it feels impossible. But when you're around the people who are doing it, even just by reading their book or watching their videos, it gives you the hope that it's possible. And then 2, it gives you the strategy of what you could be doing. So how do you go from where you are now to where you want to be? Well, if you're modeling success and you see what they did, it gives you hope, plus the strategy to actually go off and execute. So coming back to the theme of failure, what this video is all about, you're going to have tons of failure. It's going to happen. Like if you are not failing, it means you're not taking a big enough shot, right? If you're not failing, you're just doing things that you know how to do. Therefore, you're just in your comfort zone. Therefore, you just hate your life, right? If you have zero failure happening in your life, then you're taking zero chances and you're just doing what you know how to do, and you'll be bored and you won't like your life. So recognize that failure is part of the process. And as soon as we can move from past, I suck as a human, I made all these mistakes, to, okay, I'm moving forward, we're making progress, we got a big thing that we're chasing down. When you can move from failure to progress, it gives you the momentum, it gives you the hope, it gives you the energy, and ends up giving you a lot better results as well.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Good afternoon, guys. How's it going so far? Have you found things in your life to be grateful for today? Have you never stopped on trying to look for things that you know have helped you in your life, even though you may not be having the greatest day right now, and hopefully you are? If you haven't, again, go right back at it. Right now, wherever you are, if there's something that's bothering you, something that's negative, try it right now. Be grateful for one thing. Stop and think for a moment. What are you grateful for right now? You have to remember your power to believe that you can change your thoughts in a second to gratitude. So be grateful for something right now and just notice what happens to your feelings ever so slightly. And then never give up. Keep going. The day is still going. Go back at it again. Gratitude is the most powerful thing. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
The will is the mental faculty that gives you the ability to hold one idea on the screen of the mind to the exclusion of all outside distractions or ideas. I want you to start dreaming about what you want and then discipline yourself that you're going to execute it. Now, you and I are constantly being inundated with ideas through our senses. See, hear, smell, taste, touch. It's flying into our mind. It's so easy to get off track. Most information that you pick up just as you go through your day is negative. It's very negative. Most people spend most of their time thinking of why things won't work. 90% of the population are locked into that. If you turn on your radio or your TV, the news, it's all negative. It's not good news, it's bad news. And people will sit and stare at it. Now, your mind works in such a way that if you're not thinking, your subconscious mind is wide open to impression. And whatever's going on goes right into your subconscious mind. You become totally deductive to whatever the environment you're in. It's very important that you mix with the right people. I am super selective about people that I spend a lot of time with. I don't think I'm any better than anybody. I think I'm a lot more fortunate than most, but I don't think I'm any better than anybody. There's just some people I don't want to be around them a lot. It's doom and gloom. It's bad times. I love what Earl Nightingale said. Don't talk about your health unless you're talking to a doctor. But you know, if you're not feeling well and you talk to somebody about it, you know what they're going to do? They're going to sympathize. What are they going to do? They're going to add more bad energy to the bad energy you're talking and thinking about. If you go to the doctor isn't going to give you sympathy. The doctor is going to give you direction how to get better. So don't talk about your health unless you're talking to a doctor. You might want to turn that into a little mantra in your mind. Well, here we want to learn to make decisions, and then we want to discipline ourselves. Decision without discipline, it probably turns into wishing. Discipline is to give yourself a command and then follow it. It's the ability to give yourself a command and then follow it. This I will do.
As Václav Havel said, work for something because it is good, not just because it stands a chance to succeed. And this is something that I think a lot of people misunderstand. They think that the goal of their life is to identify something that'll work, to identify something that has the odds stacked in its favor, rather than to think about what matters, what's important. Because if something is important, if it speaks to you, if it's going to give resonance to your life, then it's worth doing, even if it's something that is almost guaranteed to fail. When something matters enough, regardless of the odds, it's worth engaging with, because even in the pursuit, you can find meaning. And as humans, one of the things that we hunger for most is purpose and meaning, but you can't have that purpose and meaning without the thing that you're pursuing be something that you believe to be worthwhile. So don't worry about whether or not it succeeds. Ask only about whether or not it's going to light you on fire. Ask only if in those dark moments that it will give you that sense of mattering to this world, that even in the failure, do you learn something about yourself? Do you see the truth that you matter, and that even as a single person, even as one individual, you can echo through this world? But that will never happen by pursuing something small. That will never happen by pursuing something simply because it can win. It will only happen by pursuing something that matters. And in that, if you pursue something that matters and you're able to get to the point where you can see it across the finish line, or at least advance it and make it a step closer to becoming real, in that we realize how societies really are transformed. In that, and trying the big, the impossible, dreaming that thing that nobody else is even willing to talk about. In dreaming that, it is the crazy ones who are able to change the world, because the crazy ones allowed themselves to believe. They allowed themselves to believe that against all the odds, a world that does not yet exist could actually exist. And as Ralph Marsden said, welcome those big, sticky, complicated problems. In them are your most powerful opportunities. And that's it. The big problems, the ones that matter, the things that will give you purpose and meaning in your life, they're going to be hard. But if you can look at the hard things and show up and push every day and keep striving, and when you fall down, pick yourself back up and focus only on one thing, not whether or not you're going to win, but whether or not it mattered that you played. If you do that, every sacrifice in your life will be worth it. And if not, nothing you gain will have mattered.
People think they have to know how. I call it the tyranny of how. Like, you get all excited, I'm gonna do this, and then your brain goes, I've never done it before, oh my God, what did I say? I don't know how to do this. And they tend to focus on how to do it. And when you start with how, you're screwed. Like, Martin Luther King had no idea how when he did his I Have a Dream speech. In fact, his wife was the one that pushed him because he was uncertain, right? If you know the real history, it's pretty interesting. But the bottom line is he gets up there and he gives his vision of how it can be done. He talked about what needs to happen and why. If you can figure out what you want and why you want it, and you get strong enough reasons that'll drive you late at night, it'll get you up early in the morning, and the reasons are different. Some people do it for nitty-gritty reasons, Jim Rohn used to say, because some guy told him he borrowed money from this finance company, I forget the name of it, HFC Finance, whatever the hell it was, and he hadn't been back since he borrowed the money, so they're calling him. In those days, they could harass you in ways they can't today, right? They call him, show up, and embarrass him in front of his neighbors. And so Jim Rohn, his first real chunk of money, he told me he made because it's like, he set this goal. It was his nitty gritty reason. His reason to get rich was so he could go down and pay this thing off. And he said he went to the bank and got it all in cash and in small bills. And he bolted into this little HFC, finance place, and the guy I borrowed the money was the fourth best back. And he said, I walked up there, I opened up this brief, and I dumped all the money all over his desk in small bills. And I said, count it, it's all there, I will never be back. He said he was startled because I hadn't been there since I borrowed the money, right? But he did it for nitty-gritty. Some people do it for their kid. Some people will do it, we'll almost all do it for something more than ourselves. Some people do it because they like winning. Right? I know that about you, right? It's like, I like winning. I like being the best at what I do. So I'm not going to settle for less than that. Why would I? Right? So you got to find your reasons. But if you know what you want and you get a big enough why, now you'll figure out how to do it. But if you start with how, the small brain, the fear brain, goes, oh shit, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do 90% of the time either. I know what and why, and then I try something. It doesn't work. I try something else. No, just something else. Now I speed it up by learning from the best. So that's why, Money Master Game is a perfect example. My companies, at the time were $100 million companies. I had one $500 million company. Now we're doing $7 billion. I took what I learned from these guys. I applied it not only to my investing, I applied it to my own businesses. Why do I reinvent the wheel when I just learned from the best on earth? I mean, somebody who's that good can tell you that little 2 millimeter thing that changes everything. So my life is really about learn from the best, but I don't start with the how. I start with the what and the why. And I think that's the mistake most people make.
I want to show you what it looks like when you learn something new. You have 100 billion neurons in your brain. 100 billion neurons. The number of connections you have in one neuron is between 10,000 and 40,000 connections. If you took 100 billion sheets of paper and you stack them on top of each other, it would be 5,000 miles high. That's the distance from Los Angeles to London. If you took a scoop of gray matter, the size of a grain of sand, you would have 100,000 neurons in it with over 1 billion connections. Now, I'll stop right after this slide. Learning is making new synaptic connections. Every time you learn something new, this is what's happening in your brain, geniuses. If you learned one bit of information today, your brain did this. Boom. That's learning. Physical evidence as a result of your interaction in the environment. Every time you learn something in your brain, there's a physical change that takes place, and learning is making new connections. Are you with me? This is how fast it happens, too. That's learning. If you learn anything this week, you've made a footprint. If learning is making new synaptic connections, then if you keep firing the same thoughts over and over again, you're going to wire them in your brain. So then if learning is making new synaptic connections, then remembering is maintaining them. And all of a sudden, they develop a long-term relationship. And just like any relationship, the more you communicate, the more they connect. And neurons are exactly the same way. Now, as you begin to learn information, neurons tend to assemble themselves into networks, or what's called neural networks. And neural networks are just gangs of neurons that have fired and wired together to form a community of neurosynaptic connections that's related to a thought, a skill, a habit, a behavior, a concept. And neural networks are automatic programs. You have a neural network to brush your teeth, to put on makeup, to speak a language, to walk. All of a sudden, those neurons then form a hardware circuitry, but if you keep repeating it, the hardware becomes a software program and it becomes automatic.
You have to learn to role model positivity and good values, right? It's super hard to attack me online at this point because for a decade and over 300 episodes of a podcast and over 200 episodes of my YouTube videos and 6 best-selling books and literally being on stage in front of millions of people and graduating millions of people from our online courses, just the effort of all that, the messaging is so clear, right? I'm the guy that tells you to be more intentional. I'm the guy that tells you to be a role model. I'm the guy that tells you be excellent at what you do so you can be of greater service to the world. And the more I talk about living fully and loving openly and making more of a difference, of stepping into that role model mindset, of honoring the struggles of life, in being authentically you, the message ends up standing for itself. You know, they could attack you in a video, or they might not like my shirt in this video, or might think it's stupid I took a picture of, you know, the cat, or, you know, they judge me or my clothes or my wife or something that they see. But the totality of what you have done, no one gets to take away from that. They just don't, even if they attack it, because here's what happens. Remember, as you build that big tribe, you've imbued good values into the marketplace, your tribe starts fighting for you. Your tribe starts canceling the haters. Your tribe starts fighting back for you, explaining for you. Your tribe starts getting your back because they're like, wait, why are you judging this guy? He's put out a decade of free content. Why are you judging this person? They've done all of these good works. And your community, your tribe ends up getting your back when you have imbued that tribe with good values and honestly demonstrated, but also commanded, demanded, begged, pleaded, cajoled for people to be positive forces in the world. You know, at base of all of my messaging has always been that did I matter message. That message about servant leadership, that message about get so good at what you do so you can be of greater service to the world. Like, how do the haters come at me when my message is about contribution? And that's what you want to think about, is that as you role model positivity, contribution, good values in the world, your tribe stands up for you, but you also stand up for yourself more. Because you know true, down deep in your heart, you're doing good work. Like, no one can make me question my work. I'm going to do this. I tell my team all the time, I'm going to do this till I'm 100 years old. Like, I'm always going to be that guy putting out personal development and psychology work. I love that field. It's what I care deeply about, and it's what I've stood for a decade, and no one gets to take that away from me. No one gets to take it away from you. So please don't let a hater ever slow you down. I hope that supports you, and I hope you always believe in your message. You have a voice, you have great art and contributions to give to the world. Do not slow down.
Make it raw, not perfect. This was a really important lesson for me. Early on, I spent 6 months working on an album. It was 4 tracks. 6 months, I worked on 4 tracks. I polished and polished and polished and perfected and just did so much work on this record. I must have spent thousands and thousands of hours working on this record. This is like over a decade ago. And like nothing happened from that. Nobody cared about it. Like nobody cared. I remember it getting literally like 3 plays a day on MySpace. Then Pomplamoose uploaded a video in 24 hours once. Lady Gaga came out with a song called Telephone, and Natalie and I decided, okay, let's cover Telephone.
Stop calling, I don't wanna think anymore. I left my head and my heart.
And it was not perfect. It was raw, and it was just whatever we could do in 24 hours. That video now has 10 million views. And I keep learning that lesson over and over again. And I contrast that experience with like polishing this record for 6 months. It's still hard for me to like come to terms with that. The polish doesn't necessarily make it better. And in fact, a lot of times polish makes things worse. There's an element of that about like rock and roll. There's something about rock and roll and the rawness of it and the realness of it. Hearing somebody's voice crack and hearing somebody scream and hearing somebody be human, that just really attracts other human beings. Scary Pockets the other day, we recorded a track. We do live takes, like 6 people in a room pre-pandemic, recording funk music together. If you flub a note, it's in the recording. And in the middle, the singer forgot the lyric.
Try to fix you.
And instead of cutting, we just kept going. And we liked the take, so we put it out. We put out the take, and the singer laughed, and guess what all the YouTube comments were? Oh my God, that laugh was the most incredible things. It's so great to see real people making real music together. All the comments were about this one moment of rawness, this one moment of vulnerability.
The process of change usually starts with self-awareness. Now you can change without being aware of it, but you're not usually in control. It means that the environment shifted or the circumstance or situation changed and you changed in response, but you weren't really influencing it in any meaningful way. So starts with self-awareness. Then the next step, which you already mentioned, is kind of, we could call it different things, call it deliberate practice, call it routine, or whatever, but you're consciously doing the behavior. So you're putting an effort to practice it.
Is there, just to stop you there, is there any tricks, that you have found as far as that part of it, because people don't get started, they have too high of goals. I've heard a ton of different ones, but could you share with us, some tips on that part of it?
So I think there are a couple, maybe two, let's pick two strategies that you could use right away. So the first one is, a lot of people feel like they lack motivation when what they really lack is clarity. And what I mean by that is they think, I need more willpower, I need more motivation, I need more persistence, I need more drive. And certainly, those are all important qualities in life. But the truth is, we often make statements about how we want to change in very vague ways. We say something like, this time it'll be different, I'll just eat better, I'm going to try harder, whatever. And instead, if we have clarity, and you could use, there are two strategies in the book that I talk about for this. One is implementation intentions. So it is an intention to implement a particular behavior. So the simplest way to do this is you fill out a sentence that says exactly when and where the behavior will occur. So I will go to the gym on Monday at 5 p.m. at this address, or I will journal at this coffee shop at 6 a.m., blah, blah, blah. And the more clear that plan is, the more likely you are to follow through. And there's a bunch of research studies that show that people are more likely to get their flu shot, quit smoking, recycle, exercise, basically any kind of habit you can think of.
Good evening, guys. How did it go today? What were some of the things that you were grateful for or are grateful for right now? The day's not over. As you wind down, reflect back on all the things in your life that you are grateful for. Again, it's the most powerful thing in the world. I want to share with you my personal story very briefly. I am doing everything I'm doing right now in this moment and all these wonderful things because for me, it's all about gratitude. I am so deeply grateful for all the people in my life, for you, for humanity, for all the wonderful things that we have that have enabled me to be the person I am right now. And so gratitude is everything. It's driving my determination to be my best for you and for the world. And so I encourage you to never give up on that. Continue to be grateful. It will transform you in unbelievable ways. Have a great evening, everyone.
People will say to us, Abraham, you say I create my own reality, and I don't believe that I do, because I wouldn't have created that because I don't want it. And we say, we didn't say you did it on purpose, but we did say you did it. There's a lot of misunderstanding. People think they put way more power in words than really they should. They put way more power in behavior when it's really the vibrational basis that is at the heart of everything that comes to you. Recently, someone says, everything in my life is good, there's just this one thing that isn't good. And we said, well, then let's beat the drum of that one thing and use it as the excuse to mess up everything else. And they laughed about it, but they heard our point. We said, or you could have 10 things going terribly wrong and one thing going really well, and you could focus on the one thing and use it as your excuse to help the other things come into alignment. Because the universe doesn't care. This law of attraction that is responding vibrationally, it doesn't care what your reason for offering the vibrational signal is that you're offering. It's just responding to the signal. So the fact of it is, you gotta offer a signal about what you want, not about the absence of what you want.
Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Esther Hicks, and my take on her top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, be present in the moment.
What is a manifestation anyway? You manifest the car in your garage. Oh, that's a manifestation. I can punch my hand softly into the delicate side of it. It doesn't make the same sound when I punch it today that it did when I was a teenager. But it's real. I can feel it. I can feel the materialism of it. That's a manifestation, Abraham. Or my lover coming to me, that's a manifestation. And we say, we agree. Manifestation is all of that. But manifestation, we would like you to begin to regard manifestation as what's happening with you in the moment. As Esther and Barbara were coming through the airport in San Diego, they came to the security check, and it seemed to be all blocked up. It was a small one, but it was still not moving. And the nice man, they were in the flyby lane at Southwest, and so they just sort of sailed by a lot of people. But then they came to the place, and the man took Barbara's and let her through, and then went like this to Esther. And Esther said, oh no, you have to let me go with her, because she has to help me with my stuff. Because Esther has 14 things in her carry-on bag that all have to be taken out and inspected carefully because they are dangerous things. And then Barbara said to him, oh, please let me go without her. And Esther said, oh, please don't let her go without me. And the man began to laugh, and he let Esther through. And then looked at the people behind Esther and went like, my hands are tied, these are powerful women. And now they are in the line that is not moving because, as the man told them, there was an eagle eye on the security camera, and she was checking for everything. And Esther thought, oh, that's wonderful. But then Esther had taken everything out of her bag, and so there was no worry about it. And so they went through, and Esther was really proud of herself because she had packed so carefully and unpacked so carefully. And so she sailed right through. But then Barbara's bag had to go back for a check because there was a bottle of water in it. And Esther is laughing because Barbara is the one who is counseling her on how to fly, and she has a bottle of water, a forbidden bottle of water, because everyone knows how dangerous water can be. You could wet someone's face with water. And so Esther is laughing because Barbara has been caught with her water, and Barbara is laughing because Barbara has been caught with her water. And the man offers to let them step outside and drink it as if it mattered. You can go back and start again if this water matters to you. And now they're all laughing. And then he takes her bag back through, runs it through again. And when it came back, when he came back with the bag, Barbara is sitting at a table, putting her shoes on. And the man walked to another table, and Barbara said, wrong table. And he said, no, you're at the wrong table. And Barbara said, no, you're at the wrong table. And he said, no, you're at the wrong table. And then he went to the table where Barbara was, and now they're all laughing. And then he took the bag back through, ran it through again, and told her he needed to check it one more time. And both Barbara and Esther looked at him in surprise and amazement, and he said, gotcha. And as they moved on through, they couldn't stop laughing, and Esther couldn't stop noticing the amazing fun that they had had at a place that is usually no fun at all. In other words, that's a manifestation. It's a manifestation. What you're living in any moment is a manifestation. Manifestations surrounding you. The people you meet, manifestations. The way they play with you or not, manifestations. The way you feel as you move through your day, manifestations. Your life is unfolding, manifestation, 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 manifestation. And it keeps moving. Have you noticed? There it went again, there it went again, there it went again, there it went again, there it went again. So you have constant personal control over the manifestation of your moment. And what trips you up often is you're looking long term where you have not enough power or not enough clarity, and letting the future, to which you have not enough answers right now readily available to you, concern you, where if you would just be present in the moment and be aware of the manifestation that's happening now and adjust your vibration accordingly. In other words, that little bit of fun got more fun started and more fun started, and now they come to a place where there are two seats but not together. And what's sitting in the seat between the seats is a magazine and a cell phone. And so Esther is thinking, well, I'll sit on this side of the magazine and the cell phone, and Barbara can sit on the other side of the magazine and the cell phone. But Barbara is thinking, that's ridiculous. I'm going to move the magazine and the cell phone. So she did what Esther thought was a forbidden thing. She touched someone else's things and moved it to another seat and explained to the man who had told them that someone had been sitting there, well, now he sits here. And then a great, big, gruff-looking man comes walking across from Starbucks, and Esther thinks, I'm going to the bathroom. I don't want any part of this. And as he comes to his telephone, which has clearly been moved, Barbara said, we moved you. And he said, you were so gentle, I didn't even feel it. And Esther began to realize that now the momentum of fun was started. There was no ending to what the day was going to provide. In other words, you just can't get into a place where you're feeling good, where you're loving the people of your planet, where the people who want to play with you are coming to you. You just can't get on that sort of vibrational roll without acknowledging these are manifestations. And what we want to call your attention to is that the most significant manifestation of all, have you been listening to us for a while? Some of you have for a very long while. And have you heard us say? Yes, you've heard us say on endless occasions, because we say it every time we get together with you. We say it several times every opportunity we have. Everything that everyone wants or ever has wanted or ever will want is because they believe they will feel better in the having of it. They believe they will have a good feeling emotional response in the receiving of this other thing that they think they want. And what we want to convince you of is that what you want is the emotion. What you want is the good feeling. The other stuff's just the justification that you give for having it. In other words, I want prosperity because I will feel better, and I want a lover because I will feel better, and I want this because I will feel better. I want everything that I want because I believe I will feel better in the having of it, and I believe I will not feel good in the absence of it. But it is the emotion that is the primary manifestation. Hear that. Your emotion is your primary manifestation. And if you can hear that, if you can leave with that today, if you can know it in the way we know it, then you will have control of the only manifestation that matters, which is the way you feel. And when you get control of that one, you've got control of every other manifestation.
Rule number 3, start imagining a better future.
Imagine you or the people you love, or imagine a world letting in more of who you are, all that you are. We like that word imagine, because imagine isn't you projecting a thought, writing it down, trying to shine it on a screen. Imagining is you in the receiving mode, receiving blocks of thought from that larger part of you, and those thoughts being translated by you, because you're in the receiving mode, into images. Imagine, let yourself see who you really are. Let yourself live now all that you've been asking for. So, do we know that you're gonna get it? We do. And do we know that you're gonna get down the road and look back and acknowledge how much has happened within you because of these manifested old news times? Yeah. You're on the cusp of a reawakening to who you are, to all that you are. But don't misunderstand us. We're not asking you to do this so that you can create more stuff, but you will. That's good. Or so that you can have more things, but you will, and that's good. We want you to feel like you intended to feel when you decided to come. You know how you feel when somebody else has an idea of something that you should do and directs you? And sometimes you're willing to be cooperative and you will do it, and sometimes not feeling that great about it, sometimes just doing it because somebody's asking you to do it, and it's the path of least resistance not to evoke their wrath, so you just do it, but you still have resistance within you while you're doing it. You're not doing it willingly. You're doing it, but not really willingly. That does not feel good. But you know what it feels like when an idea is hatched within you and it's your idea and the idea is calling you and you feel that eagerness, and then that idea grows to another and another and another and another. That's how you're supposed to feel. Life is supposed to be fun. That's what satisfaction is. Satisfaction is not you closing the gap between somebody else and what they want for you to do for them. Satisfaction is what happens. It only comes when you close your own gap, when what life has caused you to ask for is being allowed by you because you are focused in that direction rather than in opposition to that.
Rule number 4, trust the process.
So there is a vibrational version of you that is preceding you. Even now you are in this physical body, just like that vibrational version of you preceded you before you came into this physical body. And when this leading edge, genius creative, physical you explores contrast and gives birth to a new desire, that non-physical part of you rides that rocket and becomes it. That's what that feeling of excitement or expectation is. When you feel that joyous, positive emotion, that means that you are within the vibrational vicinity of this powerful attraction. And the sensation to you is that it's like a powerful river that is moving downstream. And if you even stick your toe in it, the river will sweep you with its current toward what you are wanting. And when you understand that everything that you want is within that current and it is moving downstream, and you begin to relax and allow yourself to go with that steady flow, everything that you want will begin showing up in your experience. We see so many of you. You take your raft or your boat down to the river's edge, and you get into the raft, and almost without exception, you turn it upstream and begin paddling very hard. We know it is illogical, isn't it? And we say, why not go with the flow? And our human friends think about it briefly and then say, that just seems lazy. The people who try hard, look at them all. Look how hard they try. And those are the ones who are rewarded. I learned it when I was little. The harder you try, the better things will go for you, and there is no gain without pain. I was told that over and over and over again, and since I want gain, then I want pain. So get out of my way and let me paddle. Look how strong I am becoming. And then they point out to us all the other strong ones that are virtuous and valiant and paddling upstream too. And we listen politely because we have seen the big picture and we know who you are and we know why you came, and we know that everything that you want is downstream and that nothing that you want is upstream. Without knowing it, most of our human friends have picked up very upstream habits. You've been trained by others who have been paddling upstream very hard. And the art of allowing is about letting go of those oars. And it's easy to let go of the oars when you know that everything that you want is downstream, and when you know that the source energy within you is down there tending what you are wanting. But when you believe that you have to work hard, when you believe that struggle is inherent in achieving, then while we will admit that you can move some physical things around, we have to say to you that creation through action is mediocre at best in terms of the results it brings to you. And that creation through alignment of energy is where all of the masters and all of those that you revere have found their place. You cannot be a magnificent creator without alignment to the energy of the power that creates worlds. And when you hold yourself apart from it, you know it, you feel rotten, and when you find yourself aligning to it, you feel wonderful. Isn't it nice that you were born with a guidance system that lets you easily know from wherever you stand if the thought you are choosing to say right now, if the thought you're thinking, if the words you are speaking, you can tell by the way you feel if it's upstream in nature or downstream in nature. The way you are feeling right now won't tell you the best thought you've ever thought. It will only tell you the directional choice of your thoughts. It will let you know if you're going toward what you want or away from what you want, toward who you really are or away from who you really are. Jerry and Esther went whitewater rafting, and it was such a fun day. And as they put their boat in the water, there were a lot of them that went. 6 of them went together, and several other rafts full of high school wrestlers. And as they put their boat in the water, not one of them even thought about turning the raft upstream. They knew that fast-moving river was going to have its way with them. Nobody even thought about paddling upstream. And the river guide said to them, "First thing, friends, this is not Disneyland. We cannot turn this river off. And this is the thing that we most want to say to you. We cannot turn this river off. Further, you're the one who made the river go so fast. You hit the ground running when you were born. You had so much intention. And all day, every day, you're sifting through that data of life and asking. You're the reason the river's moving fast, and you're the reason that you're going with it or not. You have total control in all of this. And nothing that you are doing has anything to do with anybody else or anybody else's river. In other words, stay out of their boat. And don't invite them in your boat. In other words, the only awareness that you need to have, if you want to utilize the guidance system that you were born with, you want to know one thing and one thing only, moment by moment, thought by thought. Is this upstream or downstream? And then the next statement is, how can I make it more downstream? How can I turn this thought and this feeling more downstream? What could I do to soften the resistance? What could I do to release the resistance a little more? And trying harder is the wrong answer. Trying harder makes the resistance more. It's letting go of the oars that makes it less. It's trusting the process. It's trusting the stream.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5, move up the emotional scale.
Do you understand that you never get it done and you cannot get it wrong? And the reason that you can't get it wrong is because it's never done. So even though it may sound or feel out of balance and maybe even wrong, that it really isn't wrong, because in the feeling of wrongness, you're giving birth to your opinion of what would be righter. And the source within you so trusts your opinion of what would be better for you that the source within you embraces that idea completely and becomes a vibrational equivalent to it and holds steady there until you find your way there. We've talked about the fun of croaking. You're still not there, are you? We've talked about the deliciousness of releasing resistance through what you call the death experience. And we've talked about releasing resistance through meditation, quieting the mind. We've talked about releasing resistance through appreciation, but you have to be somewhere in the vicinity of appreciation to release resistance. But do you know, with every feeling of relief that you find as you make your way up the emotional scale, with every feeling of relief, there is the releasing of resistance. And so every effort that you make to release a little resistance is really worth the effort, because in time, because of the vastness of the variety of your life, the subjects that are alive and active in your now are enough for you to release all resistance that you've accumulated over a lifetime. Do you know that? You don't have to go back and make peace with some wrongdoing that happened 20 years ago or 30 years ago or yesterday. You don't have to go back and fix all of those things, because whatever is active in your vibration now is bringing you current, real life, active, poignant, meaningful now matches. You're attracting the vibrational evidence that shows you what you're doing. Do you know that what you're living and the way it is playing out is your vibrational indicator? Do you know what's going on in your body is just an indicator of your vibration? Do you know that what's happening in your life in terms of relationship is just a vibrational indicator? Do you know the money in your bank account is a vibrational indicator? Everything that is manifested, the car that you're driving, the house that you're living in, the clothes that you're wearing, the condition of your body, everything about your life is a vibrational indicator. And those indications of vibration are being shown to you all day, every day, in the form of the emotion that you feel. So if you leave here with one decision within you, and it goes like this: I now understand the importance of recognizing how I feel, and I do care about feeling as good as I can feel about that and that and that. So somebody you love tells you a lie, and it hits you hard. And you think, they shouldn't lie to me. They should trust me more. I wish they wouldn't lie. And then you try to wrestle them to the ground, and you try to figure out why they are lying, and you try to figure out where the lies started, and you try to understand the motive of the lying, and all you do is get yourself in a scramble because you can't begin to understand it. You couldn't sort it out if you had 100 lifetimes to do it. But you can recognize that your attention to this subject is causing you discomfort right here and now, and you could choose a better feeling thought. So you find a thought that goes something like, I don't understand where they're coming from, and that gives you a little relief. And then you think of a thought such as, well, I've told a lie before, and that might make you feel better too. And then you think a thought such as, the only time I've ever lied was because I didn't think the person would like what I thought to be the truth. And I wanted them to feel as good as they could feel. So maybe there is some compassion in lying somewhere, and you feel a little better. And then you think, I don't know why I'm making such a big thing about this. And then you think, I can't even remember what the subject at hand was. And then you think, I think I've been making a big deal out of nothing. And then you think, this is a person who I really love. And then you think, it really doesn't matter what they're doing. It really only matters how I feel about them. And then you think, I should not ask them to behave in certain ways in order to love them, because I am one who offers unconditional love. And as you work your way through issue after issue with person after person and subject after subject, before you know it, within 1 or 2 or 3 days, certainly 4 or 5, and absolutely within 30, you will have had enough real life experiences show you the vibrational evidence of what's going on with your vibration that you can clean it all up. Within 30 days, you can have cleaned up enough of your vibration. And by clean it up, all we mean is find a better feeling thought, find a better feeling thought, find a better feeling thought, find a better feeling thought. That do you know that you are 30 days or less from being a vibrational match to the source that is really you? To the reason that you were born, to the coming forth into this physical experience, to the living the joyous life experience that you've come to live, to the being a vibrational match to what's in your vibrational escrow, to the getting inside everything that you've ever asked for. Do you know how close you are in terms of time to having everything that life so far has caused you to ask for? It's such a short distance. It just requires some caring about how you feel, and a willingness to move yourself deliberately up the emotional scale and back into vibrational alignment with who you really are. As you do that every day, you'll see the world a little more through the eyes of Source. And as you begin to view your magnificent world through the eyes of Source, you will then revel in your beingness and in that of others. And you will feel pride and worth beyond physical description. And you will begin to express to others, I've come forth with great reason into this physical body, and that reason is for joyous expansion, and I wish that for all.
Rule number 6, change your perspective.
Who you are is always expanding and evolving and changing. But these days on these seas will surprise and delight you in new ways. New environments give you new perspectives. And new perspectives cause new desires, because new perspectives almost always contain new contrast. So as new desires happen within you, and your vibrational reality expands as a result of it, your asking expands as a result of it, your summoning of answers and solutions happens. And then, when you are in the receiving mode, then you get to feel the expansion actually happening within your being. It's a visceral experience. It's a feeling experience as new energies move through you in new ways, because you've asked new questions and you found a new level of letting it in. And as a result, you're going to feel real good. And as another result, you will feel the momentum of your experience picking up. And as another result, you will see manifestations, some of them that may have felt log-jammed or stifled or slowed down, will begin to pick up speed, and you will be a physical witness to your own deliberate creating. And there is not anything that is better than that. You are source energy beings in these magnificent bodies, but you usually don't know that you are, and you usually don't act like you are. You usually behave like humans, thinking that you are cut off from that source when you are not. Sometimes thinking that source is not hearing you when it always is. And so, as we are moving forward in these hours and days that we will share together, it is our expectation that you will find a new level of appreciating yourself, that you will come to realize the perfection, not the finished perfection, but the current perfection of who you are. You're going to discover a way to more effectively and more consciously strike a balance between who you are in your physical body and who you are as non-physical energies, because you are both, you see, you know, you are both. You are an extension of source energy, but you are not an extension that is separated from that source energy. You are an extension of that source energy. And that source energy is flowing to you and through you. It is a part of you. So you, pioneers that you are, out here on this leading edge, you are exploring and examining and coming to new understandings of what you personally desire, just like you knew you would. And as that desire hatches within you, you begin a whole new summoning process, because after all, you live in a universe that is based upon attraction. And so as you find something new that you are asking for, you begin a summoning process that feels different to you. And it feels different to you depending upon what your belief factor is in relationship to what you are newly summoning. Once you get practiced at this, and once you understand that you can be or do or have anything that you desire, then when you summon, you automatically allow, because your belief is right there. You know who you are, and you expect good things to come, and you know the power of your own mind, and you know the laws of the universe, and you expect source energy to reply to you, and you expect, through your own power of attraction, you expect to get the things that you are asking for.
Rule number 7, adopt positive energy.
It's a nice thing to remember that things are always changing, that you are living in a dynamic environment that is and always has and always will be changing. And you are adaptive beings. And by that we mean not just adaptive to your environment, but adaptive to the energy stream that you are about. You are an extension of source energy. If you've been listening to us for a while, you have heard that from us often. You are here in these physical bodies as an extension of so much more. And remembering that so much more part, and acknowledging the right now existence of it and transmission of it is really good for you, because as you acknowledge that there is that part of you, aware of where you are right now, aware of what your perspective is and what your opinion about your perspective is, your inner being is aware of right now, your right now too. And so as your inner being is aware of where you are in relationship to where you want to be, your inner being is always calling you in the direction of who you really are, of who you really all are, of who all of you really is, of the whole of who you are, calling you toward that. Because as you are moving in the direction of that wholeness, as you are moving in the direction of the desires that are new in every moment, that's where you feel not just ease or not just relief, but in time, enough momentum that you feel true satisfaction, true exhilaration, true sense of wholeness, a true sense of well-being. And not just well-being in the sense that something troubling is being resolved, but well-being in the sense that here you are, all of you, the physical you and the non-physical you, focused together in thought and focused together in attraction.
Rule number 8, focus on serving.
You want to win?
I expect to this time.
Then rather than focusing on the best that you can be, just be it, and don't worry about it.
Okay.
But focus upon the best that they can be, the most that they can receive, the best situation for them. Give your undivided attention to the well-being of those you seek to assist. And they will not miss that, you see.
Wonderful.
As you explain, I've been there before and thought I would never come back, but now I want to come back because you've inspired me more than ever before, because I can feel the power and the clarity and the brilliance of that which is you. And I think it's time for you to have obstacles moved out of your way so that you can shine bright in the way that you've intended to shine bright. And I know that there is a way to carve a path. I also know that in every environment, whether it is your world environment at large, you're saying to those who are listening to you, but even in the political environment, as Congress people are moving around the halls, that there is always a path of least resistance. And that's what really good politicians find. As a body, we stir a lot up. You all know that. But in stirring it up, we ask the big questions. We ask the important questions. And then it's our job, it's my job, I see it as my job to understand what you want and to understand what is possible and to do my best to carve out the path that will help you get to where you want to be with the least amount of trouble. And I'm really, 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 really good at that. I was good at it before, but I'm better at it now, you see. And as they hear you speaking in general terms, try to stay out of the specifics of it if you can, just for a little while. Speak in general terms of the exhilaration you feel in being a partner, a co-creative partner with them, in helping them to find the results that they are looking for. And applaud them for the lives that they've been living and for the clarity that they've brought forth. And applaud the other people on the ballots, the other people already in the office. In other words, in your understanding of what it's like, we are all in there together. We are all in this together.
Rule number 9, let yourself be you.
Most people know that they want to feel good and know when they don't, but they don't know what to do about it. But you do. You know what to do about it when you don't feel good. You know what to do about it. And you are showing yourself, and this is so important, you're showing yourself every day, often many times in every day, that your desire is expanding and that your capacity for feeling good is expanding as well. We know you're banging around with a lot of other people. You live with them. You watch them, they annoy you, you enjoy them. There's a lot going on in this world of such high interconnectivity
activity. You chose it. You knew it would be like this. It's not gone wrong. It's going right. The most important factor is that you let yourself be you. When you're insecure, you're not you. So it's really not really your partner who is making those statements that feel like bragging. And they wouldn't feel like bragging if his energy wasn't split. But it's not your job to keep his energy from being split. But it is your job for you to not have split energy, because he has split energy. Every conversation we have in this way takes us to places we have not been before. And the satisfaction factor for us is off of any chart that you could conjure. It is so satisfying to feel the wholeness of you, the glimpses that you have into your vortex, and to understand at all levels of our being the fulfillment of who you are, what you intended in each of these conversations. We would like it if you could just scramble all the way up the emotional scale and feel about yourself the way we feel about you. Because we know when you feel like this, you feel like this. But there's no wrong place for you to be on the scale. You're not getting it wrong when you don't feel like this. A lot of the things that you wrote in this week, you're being kind of hard on yourself because you think that there's some standard that you must live. But it's a standard that you have individually set, you see. You're not being tested. There are no requirements. It's not like those physical religions that have been originally received and then later controlled by disconnected humans. Your guidance system is real and you can trust it.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is tune into the frequency of you.
You said, I'll go forward into my physical experience and I will remember that the larger part of me remains non-physically focused. And I will look around the environment and I will see things wanted and unwanted, and it will help me hone a clear understanding moment by moment of what I most prefer. And then I will focus in the direction of my preference until I accomplish vibrational alignment with my own inner being. And when I do that, my inner being, who knows the fullness of what I'm asking for and knows the path of least resistance for me to get there, will feed to me moment by moment in real time ideas and impulses that will lead me joyfully along the path to the full unfolding of what I want. That's what you said.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
You also said, and each time that happens, I will stand in a new place with new manifestations and also a whole new set of contrasting experiences which will give birth to another good idea. And as that other good idea comes, my inner being will hold steady on that good idea. And I might be wavery about it, but I will seek the feeling of satisfaction that my inner being is feeling as my inner being focuses upon it. And as I tune into that feeling of satisfaction, I will come into full alignment. And once again, I will be in that place of receiving impulses and ideas, so that I will not only be the creator, step 1, I will be the receiver, step 3. But the most important, exciting part of being physical is that then I will get to, in concert with my inner being, witness the deliberate and gentle and delicious unfolding of each and everything that I ask for. And in that experience, I will eventually come into full feeling of worthiness. I will come to expect that good things are supposed to come to me. I will come to know that life is supposed to be fun. I will come to know that I'm supposed to feel good. Struggle will be a part of my past, and ease and flow will be a part of my eternally unfolding future experience.
Yeah.
I will be a shining light unto the world, I will live such ease and grace and joy that others will see me and they will know from what they see that I've figured some things out. And when they ask me, how is it that you are so joyful? And how is it that so many things come to you with such ease? And I will say to them, you said you knew. I just get into the receiving mode. I care about being satisfied. I go with the flow. I chill out. I push against nothing. I seek love. I move in the direction of what feels good. I find what feels good. I maintain that balance by my attention and focus. I care about how I feel until I have mastered alignment with source energy so that I continue to be a radiating light of source energy wherever I go. And then those like you who are really the same as me, who are wanting to figure out how to tune into that frequency, I maybe sometimes make it a little easier for you to tune in because I'm tuned in.
Yeah.
That's what you said. And then you said,
I said a lot.
oh, your vortex is so full of what you said. Your vortex is so full of your intentions for happy living and happy guidance and happy uplifting and happy life.
Yeah.
Then you said, and most important, I will figure it out as I go. There's not anything that I'm supposed to do. There's not anything that's been assigned to me. I get to choose. I'm so free, I can choose bondage. And expansion is inevitable. And so my goal is joy. That's what you said.